Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to have an unboxing of the Zvezda 1 in 35 scale BM21. So much things got to remember. That's the Grad launcher on the Ural 4320 truck, I believe. I haven't opened it up yet, apart from open the box, but what I will do is once I've shut this down from the intro, I'll get the bags cut open. They are lots of crispy plastic bags in there and they will make a bit of a noise, but what can you do? So join me at the bench, guys. This is what we're looking at, in case you didn't see my video yesterday on my model stash. Okay, so join me at the bench. I'll try and keep this short and sweet, but you know me, might go on a while. So I'll catch you at the bench, guys. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. As usual, I've got no proper setup to do this. I just wanted to give you a quick look just to see if you're interested in it yourself, really. Obviously it's mainly in Russian. Grad in Russian means hail. We've got a couple of versions, which let's see if we can go down with the camera. I really need to get one of these automatic ones. There, you give you the two options there. I'll definitely be doing this one, I think, with everything open. You know, it's crying out for that, really. We've got our, let's see if we can go back again. Our sprues going from A, B, yeah, well, anyway, through to K. Yeah. Everything's in Russian, obviously, with a few bits of English tacked on. Here's our engine. The engine itself looks a nice little build. I'm sure you could put some cables in yourself. I don't know if I'm going to yet. We'll see when I've seen some engine shots of the Ural's engine itself, and we'll see if what can be seen and what I've got. I haven't got any lead wire or anything, so it'd have to be copper wire, something like that. But we'll see. But got the sump. You see, yep, sump, intakes, manifolds, all the usual stuff, fans, belts. We've got our chassis rails. We've got the tanks. I imagine it drives the brakes. The air tanks for the brakes. Going onto the chassis rails. So I'm just trying to look. Sorry for the dead air there. Dead air, that's professional. Yeah, adding the engine. The problem for me is I know a lot of what I'm looking at, and again, you can always tell with me, my brain then freezes and I can't actually tell you what I'm looking at, and I know the damn stuff. Oh dear me. We've got radiator hoses as well. Obviously radiator. So there's a fair bit of hoses going on as well. I'm not sure if they're going to be in rubber or plastic, but we'll see. Building the diffs up, building the leaf springs on. Now it says snap here. I'm not sure if that means be careful, they will snap, or I think, but by the look of it, you just click the pegs in with a bit of pressure. Add in the diffs. As I say, I'm really looking forward to this one because there's enough complexity on it that will keep me busy for a fair bit. Again, it'll be interesting. I'm going to have to break down the painting, which I'm not very good at, so I've got to try that. Because there's going to be no way you're going to get into some of these areas, so I'm going to make sure that a lot of these is pre-painted in sub-assemblies. fuel tanks going on, shock absorbers, we've got the cab, or cab interior anyway. Yeah, I would say this is our number 22 there. I think that's our launch box from what I've seen on all the videos I've been watching. I should now be able to load and fire a BM-21 Grad missile launcher with the amount of videos I've seen the last couple of days. Cab interiors, exteriors. That'd be interesting to see what the seats are like. If they're just not going to look like, you know, just a piece of soft plastic. Oh, that's good. The windscreen wipers go on separately. They're not being moulded to the windows themselves. Bits of fire engines, fire extinguishers. Cab going onto the chassis. It's at the moment, it's just a rolling chassis. And then by the look of it, building up the engine deck. Again, whether they're hydraulics or compressed air tanks for moving the Grad launcher around, I'd imagine. Yeah, lots. Stowage bins. Our rims there are split in two. They're asking you to put them through the tyre itself. Then the rest of our Grad launcher. And putting the tubes on. I've not seen the sighting mechanism. From what I could see on some of the videos, they've obviously got the sighting mechanism attached to the side of the launcher. Can't see it at the moment, but it's not to say it's not there. Obviously I'm not some expert in Grad launchers. I like the inside of the, they've got some of the door panelling as well inside as well, that's good. So yeah, I think the instructions look fairly straightforward to me as somebody who can't read instructions very well. Let's have a look. Oh, crispy bags. Said I was going to do this earlier and completely forgot already. And the problem is, I guarantee these won't go back in the bag. I don't seem to have any loose bits. Oh, in fact, let's do one at a time. We're just going to have a mess. Right, where's our telling us which sprue it is? Might be B. We're looking at, so we can get a bit closer. Chassis rails. Let me see if a pointy stick, anything will do. You can see some slight dings here where, let's just see if that's, yeah, where we've got ejector pins. They'll be on the inside, although I'd imagine you'd probably see them, so I think they're all going to have to be removed. I don't know 100%, so don't quote me. I'll let you know further on in the build. But they may well have to be filled or removed. And there's some slight, you know, marks where they've been. But to be honest with you, there's also holes, obviously, to add all the different stuff. So I'd imagine most of these, I'm showing thin area. Most of these will probably be covered. Not the injector pin marks themselves, but the slight dips where they are on the counter side. even on the tiny pieces I'm seeing no flash whatsoever. The tubing that I said, is it rubber or plastic? It looks like it's plastic. It's beautiful, beautifully crisp. Doesn't seem too much machine oils on it where they've ejected them from the moulds. There are ejector pin marks on the inside of the cab and that, but until I start assembling I won't be able to tell you, what's seen and what isn't. I'm not that good yet. Most of the experienced modelers out there could look at this and tell me, oh, that'll be seen, even if they don't know a Grad launcher, but I'm not that good. So it's like this bit of checkerboard in here, checker plate, for the side steps, I'd imagine. That's got it underneath. And although it'll be underneath, I'd want to probably get rid of all those because I know they're there and they'll bug me. I'll get rid of them badly, but we'll be able to say that I've had a go. Right, here's some larger pieces. This is the deck for the Grad launcher. Obviously this piece here. I can't see any warpage. The sprue gates themselves are quite thin. Probably have to be a bit careful on the cleanup on these leading edges as they are going to be exposed. But they're fairly small compared to some that I've worked at. Again, even on these smaller pulleys and whatever, there's no flash on those whatsoever. Flip her over, we know we're going to see, a load of ejector marks there, but they shouldn't be too hard to get rid of. It depends how deep you want to go into it. You can say they're at the bottom of the truck, you ain't going to see them, so whether you want to do that, it's up to you. But I can't see any being put in the places where you wouldn't want them to be. Tiny bit of scuffing or scratching there, probably where the sprues have been rubbing together, but nothing that a fine sanding wouldn't cure. No, as for flash and everything nothing seems to be warped as far as I can tell. Again, I am a novice, so obviously take what I'm telling you with a pinch of salt, but some beautiful details. Again, there's been, like on the top of this cab here, there's some very, sorry about the grubby fingernails, some very small bits of scratching where it's probably been scratching against each other. But a bit of Mr. Surfacer, I would imagine, would sort that out, and a fine sand. That's what I'm saying about the door pockets. There's no particular texture on the door pockets, but without seeing the inside of a door of a Ural, I don't know if this is soft or hard or what. So I'd have to do a bit of research on that. But you could always hand paint something in if that's the case. Our dashboard. Again, as I say, this is a built-up. Obviously you build your cab up. It's not one like it's been moulded in one piece, but which in one sense, you see some of these, like the 1 in 72s I've seen recently, people doing. A lot of those cabs are already completely moulded. You just stick top to bottom. But I don't know. I like building my model. I like to actually. Well, I get a lot of fun out of actually physically building them. Yes, we all know at the moment as a novice I'm building them all wrong, filling them all wrong, painting them all wrong, and decaling them all wrong. But I'm getting the enjoyment of it, and I think enjoyment is what it's all about. Again, zero flash. I've got no warpage on those whatsoever. So that's the main bag of sprues. Let's have a look at these ones next. nothing was loose in that bag. That's not saying obviously yours would be exactly the same, but let's have a look at this one. If Gav can actually cut them open. Right, we've got our wheel hubs. Tiny bit of flash, and again, you know, you're not going to complain about that. It's in a hole at the end of the day. In 2 seconds to get that out. I mean, look at these tiny parts here. Not a bit of flash on them. I'll probably lose them to the floor monster, but that's another point. I'm not sure if these are obviously headlights. I'd imagine it don't look like you're going to get any clear parts on that. I'm not 100% sure yet though, until I have a look. Again, look at these tiny handrails or whatever they are. Absolutely zip on those. Brilliant. Be interesting to see if what the plastic's like when I actually nip them off the sprue. But yeah, again, well impressed. My main drawback for me as well is my compressor and my airbrush. I have to keep them boxed up, and it's always a rigmarole. You know, when you're doing sub-assemblies, you can't just say swing round to the airbrush, do a bit and carry on. I have to try and think it out. That's what was the difficult part on the T55 build as well, was trying to get something in where I could, you know, build stuff and having to paint it, you know, obviously because a lot of this would have to be painted sub-assembly. Different linkages again, absolutely fantastic. There's no distortion, no flash. And then we crack on. We've got some nice chunky leaf springs here. And again, I'm looking for, you've obviously got a mould line along the top of that leaf spring, but you can, and on the bottom, that's going to be the, you know, you've got no choice. That's how they're obviously, no choice I'm going to show you either, but you might just catch a bit of obviously the mould line on top of that leaf spring, but and on the bottom one will be the hardest, obviously, because it's in separate parts, but again, is that gearbox? Again, beautiful. Compressed air tanks for the braking system. Very, very nice. I will say, it always makes your heart sore. It does with me when when something's not a disappointment, you know, because I'm just like when I'm painting soldier figures, whether they're, you know, wargaming or larger figures. You see something and you order it and you get it and you went, you know. But this has not disappointed, I don't think. Grad tubes obviously go together. I believe you can, like most things, I believe you can get brass sets for this, but my whole thing is to try and keep it as cost effective for myself as I can, and buying photo etched brass, as much as it's enjoyable to work on that as well. I'm not really at a place where I can do that. So there are tubes. The only thing on the tubes would be, obviously they're two halves, so they're going to be there's going to be some my dreaded filling and sanding going on there, I think, although they are most of it's enclosed in a box, so probably get away with most of it. And that's, I believe, the rest of our sundries around the launcher itself. I may be wrong. So that is our sprues. That's all we need to see. We'll have a quick look at these tyres. I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that just is dying to look at, trying to look at a Zvezda rubber tyre. So Oh, that's good. There's only the way they've done them. Oh, there is a slight, yeah, there's a slight mould. I was going to say there's no mould line. There is a slight, very slight mould line there, but you could probably scuff that out. Really solid rubber. There's some form of writing on the outside, but to be honest with you, or inside. But I have no idea. So that's our tyres. I'll sort those out in a minute. Let's have a quick look at our decal sheet and our clear parts. Clear parts want to come out first. Let's look at my wrinkly skin. They're absolutely crystal clear, that is. That's like, got some backing behind it. I can't even show, I'm not using, here we go. Put some backing behind it, and that's crystal clear to me. Again, I'm no expert, but oh, there is some glass lenses for the lights. There you go. And I'll imagine there'll be some top ones that's got them on the top. Yeah, these little guys, I think here. Where are we? Here. I think they go on the top of the cab. No, great. I think that's the back one. Beautiful, they are. Crystal. No problems with those as far as, again, a novice speaking, but no problem with that. That I'll keep in, but that's your foil. I do actually, I've got some reflective mirror backing, which would probably be better than that, because that is more like just a chromey type look. These are our decals. Again, you know, people say in register. I'm not very good at that because obviously I'm a fairly novice at this, but the actual, all the colours don't seem to be any bleeding in the colours. Carrier film on the big red stars up the corner is really tight to the actual star itself, and the big yellow and black ones, again, absolutely minimum carrier film on those. So all in all, very impressive. I'll be building this next, I think, because it's if I don't, it'll plague me, because I saw Pete's in Sweden, I saw his, and I think I've seen some when I was looking up when I saw this originally on eModels site. I took a liking to it, went away and did some research on different forums. I'm not a member of any forums. Right guys, I'm really sorry I'm all over the shop with this box. If you don't know about Zvezda boxes, I know it's a little thing, but so I'm told, for long-term storage of model kits when they're in your stash. These make great boxes. Obviously they're standard, you know, they go down flipping, and then this the artwork that I showed you earlier, that's like a cover slip that goes over the top, so really nice way of doing it, I think. These here nice crispy bags of sprues. Grad launchers here. I will get these out the bags in a bit. Looks like this one contains our mostly our wheels, axles, transmission, gearbox type stuff. I say, I think the detail on it is absolutely fantastic. The decals. I'm not, as I say, as a fairly newish modeler, I'm not one of these that can really tell you much about decals. The Sea Fury from Airfix I was working on recently in decal, they were cartograph ones, which people tell me are the best, and they really did go down really well compared to some of the others I've done. All the little red stars are here, as you can have it, and this more modern Russian Federation type military, they seem to have this on a lot of the parade vehicles, and the little red stars there are to go onto the end of the Grad tubes for Victory Parade, but I won't be doing that one. The little bit of mirror finish there is for your wing mirrors. We've got vinyl tyres. Hopefully we've got the correct number, and there should be a spare to go behind the cab as well. They look fairly well detailed as far as tyres go. I'm not going to get those out of the bag. Well, I may do actually. It's just a Ziploc one, that one. Then we've got our main bag of screws containing what looks to be 3 screws. And obviously there are all the rest of our cab, chassis rails, things like that. I'm just desperately trying to put things where my dog isn't going to go running off with them. We have our instruction set. I'll have a look at it in a minute. I don't know what we'll be able to see on the tight bench space I've got, but we'll see. I'd imagine that's different warnings. Trying to find the English version, which, yeah, well, be something. And then we've got our colour callouts. This one here is for the 4th Guards Tank Division. It doesn't give a date. This one here just says BM21 Grad Russian Army exercises. And then we've got our parade version there, which would look obviously fairly colourful compared to the green scheme that it's in, but I think I'll prefer either to do just a green version or a camo version. I'm not sure yet. I was going to put this in a small diorama, but I've still got a bit of back reading to do yet, which I'm furiously doing at the moment. The Ural truck that it's on, obviously this is one of the later versions, the 4320, I believe. I hope I keep saying that. I'm desperately trying to find it. Is on the box, but I think it's a 4320. This is an updated version, so it says. As you all probably know, I think I said this if you saw my modelling stash video. This is a 40 tube launcher. I believe it's 122mm or 120mm rockets they fire. Unguided as far as I'm aware. I'm not an expert on the Grad. I'm literally furiously. We've all seen Grads over the years. I mean, I'm long in the tooth now, so I've seen them used all around the world on different chassis and whatever. Obviously, its lineage goes back to World War II with the Katyushas. This one, they said satellite aiming, and I can't, because I wanted to use mine for Chechnya in probably 96, 2000, something like that. But I'm unsure if, so far I can't find out if these were used, if this version of the Ural, they look the same to me. Although there's some of them, the bonnet here has like breather slashes in the side of it, cooling vents or whatever, so I'm not 100% sure yet. If not, as I say, I'm quite happy to do one on exercise somewhere in one of the Russian military districts. But yeah, it fires 40mm 40 tube 122mm rockets. They can aim it, from what I've said, on satellite. Now I can't see any type of receiver stuff there, so I don't know if they mean a central command gets, the satellite tells them where to actually fire it, and then they just fire it. There's normally a sighting piece on the side, and I've obviously, without going through it yet, I don't know. There's also, it'll be interesting to see inside the cab, there's normally a little firing box in the passenger's side, and I'll be interested to see if that's included in the cab as well. The military, these Ural, I think Russian lorries are brilliant. Russian trucks, I'd love to have owned one. The civilian option on this, because they do firefighting, drilling rigs, obviously just civilian versions, but some of the off-roading that Russian trucks have to do, they have to be huge and sturdy, and that's what they are. The Civi version, from what I've read so far, has a longer bumper at the front, and it'll have its headlights in the front, where the military version has them in the wings. So a bit of useless information there for you. So I'll knock off for a second and I'll open some bags up, and then I think we'll probably display them on here. So I'll see you in a minute. but just, you know, dipping into them, seeing what people have reviewed and built them as and things. And I just really liked it. As I said, I was after to do something like a Ural truck in either military or civil defence, something like that. And to be honest with you, I couldn't get, even with a Zvezda, I couldn't get under 30 quid, I think, for a lorry, truck, whatever you want to call it. And I saw the Grad, and I mean, the Grad's just iconic. You wouldn't want to be underneath a Grad battery as it's landing on top of you, but you know, they are seen in conflict all around the world. Just if you, I don't know if I can get this in. Oh, where are we? That's the original Katusha on the rails there from World War II. We've got another Ural there. There's a general service cargo. And just says Russian vehicle. I can't remember them. I used to know all these and they've gone out of my head now, but with the Cornet anti-tank missile systems. But yeah, really going to look forward to this one. I'm just trying to think when I'll be starting it, probably next week. And I've still got to get the last bit on the Sea Fury done. And the 1 in 35 scale LAV, that gets its final reveal in the next day or two. So yeah, very impressive. I can't say about the build. The problem is with me building stuff and giving you guys feedback on it is, you know me, I make loads of mistakes. I'm only learning. You know, I read instructions wrong, I stick things wrong, you know, right upside down, you know, you name it, I've done it. So fit issues and things, I'm very wary about claiming anything on anybody's models, because most of the time it's me. But you know, I can see there's no flash on here whatsoever on my molds. I can't see any warping of anything. Yes, they're injector pins. I presume they're not going to be seen. If they are, you know, I won't know that until I start sticking it together or dry fitting it, and then I'll be obviously sanding bits out. But bit of scratching on the moulds from being on the sprues, you know, from being banging together, I'd imagine. But you know, not a great deal, nothing. I mean, it's a military vehicle at the end of the day. So yeah, very, very impressive. I thought that the instructions were clear enough for most people apart from me. So no, looking forward to this one. This will be the next project. So look forward to seeing the Zvezda 1 in 35 scale BM21 Grad launcher on Ural 4320 truck. Take care of yourselves, guys, and we'll catch each other soon.